Hello there and welcome. How are you doing? This is the Batman of Positive Value here. Welcome to the Facebook Live. And if you happen to be watching this from YouTube, I want to welcome you to the Batman of Positive Values YouTube channel, the place to come to be educated and empowered. In today's video, I want to celebrate Batman Day with you of 2020, where I will be reading to you a couple of simple but yet inspiring stories that you can absolutely learn life lessons from. So if you are watching this for the first time and you're watching this from the Facebook Live, don't forget to follow me on Facebook via my Facebook fan page at the Batman of Positive Value, as well as my Instagram at Darth Nightmare. And if you're watching this from YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out when I roll out some new content. So I wanted to start off with this Batman Day celebration, sharing with you my favorite Batman story that doesn't exactly tie into my notorious adversaries, but rather a common thing that tends to happen in our everyday society, but yet there is a powerful, inspiring lesson that you can learn from. So the first story I'm going to be reading to you here is out of the Justice League World's Greatest Superheroes graphic novel collection of stories. So let's begin. I am the Batman, a grim soul fighting a relentless war on crime. Cloaked in shadows, I prey on the forces of evil. Determined to strike terror throughout the underworld, I adopted the fearsome image of a bat. To prepare myself for the battle, I developed my mind, mastering science and criminology. I pushed myself to the limits of human endurance, training my body to physical perfection, all the while driven by the pain of my worst memory. The night a criminal stepped from the shadows and tore my world apart. In a heartbeat, I had lost the two most important people in my life. It was this loss that changed me forever. The night a grief-stricken boy made a solemn oath he would never forget. This is Batman, War on Crime. I buried my parents here when I was 8. Since that day, part of me has always been bound to this place, to the memories of innocent people destroyed by crime. Ghosts long departed, and ghosts who still wait. To much of the city, I am a ghost, an urban boogeyman, often discussed but rarely seen. More vivid in rumor than reality. Glimpsed fleetingly in shadow, possessed of seemingly inhuman powers, I have become, through imaginations and nightmares, a creature to be avoided. The aura of fear that I project is my most potent weapon. It triggers panic, giving me the advantage in my attack. It acts as a barrier, warning the innocent and curious to keep them distance. Even those who fixate on challenging the Batman recoil in horror when I finally confront them. Each night in silence, I move through the city, seeing what others try to hide. The bribes casually taken, the heinous acts committed in darkness. crime also flourishes in the luster of wealth and civility. Here I wear a different disguise, one in which the city's fortunate welcome me as one of their own. The well-heeled denizens of this realm are often just as deep cutthroat as their counterparts in the street. As Bruce Wayne, I weave through the crowd, giving a smile here, a handshake there, every move executed with the same precision Batman would use to disarm a thug in an alley. This is the world into which I was born. Over the years, I have shut out any distractions it might offer, using it purely as a source of information, an arena to develop contacts that will help me win battles elsewhere. Yet sometimes I reflect on the positive elements I might have embraced from that life: stability, security, family. Basic but precious things my neighbors take for granted. I have sacrificed much to operate as Batman. My wealth buys me privacy, crucial to the survival of both my identities. But what kind of man would I have become if things had been different? If, instead of using my fortune as a means to fight crime, I allowed myself to be ruled by it and all its temptations. If I truly became what I appeared to be to others. I drift through the day, letting trivial concerns occupy my mind. This morning there's an investment opportunity, or so my executive board tells me. Upscale housing and retail venues built on the site of the formerly thriving Bayside industrial area. I know the neighborhood. As a Batman, I'm usually down there once a week, running out the gangs and drug dealers. Though now, for the entire benefit of the others, I just smile and shrug. The development's mastermind is Randall Winters, a man my age from a similar background. Randall has always spoken warmly of me as a close friend, presuming upon the familiarity created by our social environment. In him, I see a reflection of the man I might have been, and I'm not sure I like it. Randall is quick to encourage my participation in this project. We are, in his words, kindred souls, after the same things, out of life. I nod to the stranger at my elbow and tell him I'll consider it. That night, I patrolled the Bayside area. Despite the constant threat of crime, good people still live here. Gunshots, then an alarm. Weapon in hand, a man flees from a market. Robbery, possible murder. I maneuver him into the alley, easier to handle in a close space. He wastes bullets on my shadow, as I had hoped. He's down in seconds, sobbing in fear, no longer a threat. The shots told me what to expect. I'm not surprised when I see the bodies. Then I see something else, something unexpected, but familiar. The boy's name is Marcus. The only family he has is awaiting the coroner's van. I see him later, sitting alone, lost in the confusion of a busy night at the station. In time, the police will provide him with shelter and food, perhaps counseling. It's hardly enough, and it won't wipe away what he's feeling tonight. The grief, rage, fear. The first night is always the worst. The tragedy that denied my life has so easily been inflicted on another. Though I was able to catch his parents' killer, I'm afraid that will have little impact on Marcus or his future. Whether the scars are physical or mental, crime wounds everyone it touches. It poisons the mind and soul. It brings injury and death. And in the end, leaves only despair. Crime wastes no time extending its reach. By morning, the gang is already tagging a murdered couple's store. Cloaked in a humble disguise, I watch the punks claim the area for their own. Bayside was once a thriving part of the city. Families were safe here, encouraged by the prospect of good jobs and a bright future. When big business decided it was more profitable to move elsewhere, the area became slowly a wasteland. The families hung on as best as they could, but were eventually driven away by those who saw crime as a viable career option, an easier way to get ahead. Many people have ruined their lives clinging to that belief. The woman behind the counter is a hardened criminal. I've handed her over to the police several times before. I'll probably do it again. Like many, she returns from confinement, determined to maintain a quiet, low-profile existence. She tries very hard to fit in, working a simple job, forcing away any thoughts of her criminal past. I sense she doesn't know how to live this way. The crushing drudgery of her self-inflicted routine will soon send her back into past habits and the influence of old friends. There is a sad predictability to this woman's situation. A frailty that I feel as her delicate hand brushes against mine. Crime is a net-like trap from which few truly escape. Falling into the trap is easy enough, especially for kids. I reflect on that later as I watch a routine burglary. A local gang hitting an electronics store. Adult leader, 3 teen runs. Little one on lookout. No question that leader is armed. I'll go after him first. The little one nervously scans the alley. Like most lookouts, he's watchful for any movement on the street, and rarely looks up. I use that to my advantage. I dart quickly through the smoke, subduing the gang members before they pull their weapons. By the time the air clears, Only the lookout is left. I advanced and he shrunk his back, scared out of his mind. Exactly the response I wanted. Though now I see this boy is no longer a stranger to fear. For the second time this week, Marcus stares up at me, terrified and in pain. When he runs, I don't make a move to stop him. In my darkest moments, I'm taunted by the suspicion that my parents' murder was the best thing that ever happened to me. Cynically, I tell myself it has given my life a destiny and the means to fulfill it. I try to imagine what my life would have been like as a poor child on the street, my family gone, no one to look after me. Stripped of those resources, would I still have tried to fight crime however I could? Or would I have turned my anger back on society, as so many others have done? All too soon, sunlight stabs through my eyelids. Barely slept this morning. When I did doze off, I kept seeing the boy in my dreams. Always the same, staring at me as if I were the embodiment of his every misery. And not without reason. Recently, Batman has been looming over him like an evil shadow, close by at every moment of loss and fear. As Batman, I'm more concerned with criminals than victims. Maybe it's time I started effecting changes without the mask. I meet with Randall Winters to hear more about his redevelopment plan. I tell him I'm interested, especially if it means improving the neighborhood for the people still living there. Randall explains that once his company made overtures to buy, all the smart people in the community took his money and left, leaving the ones who couldn't or wouldn't move targets for gangs of drug dealers. I know. Randall grins and makes light of it, saying cleaning up that mess is what the police and Batman are for. Winters assures me the only worry I'll have is where to spend my money once the profits start rolling in. If it's security in the area that worries me, Randall winks. He knows a few moonlighting cops who will run the undesirables off for $1 or $2. I return Winter's smile and fight the urge to pummel the man. Winter's callous attitude goads me onward. If he wants to lay the responsibility for cleaning up Bayside on Batman's shoulders, then far be it for me to disappoint him. I intensify my study of the area, every rooftop, alleyway, and side street. Before long, I have every detail of the neighborhood mapped and memorized. I'm still lacking several pieces of vital information. Rundowns of illicit activity in Bayside, and names of the players calling the shots. I know where to get what I need. To jaded thrill seekers, an aura of dangerous glamour still surrounds the owner of this club, a former gang boss reputedly gone legit. I'm not so easily dazzled. If this man doesn't have his hand in every dirty game in town, he knows who does. I tell my old associate, I want information on Bayside. He protests as I knew he would, threatening to have me prosecuted for harassment if I don't get out. I appeal to him on a level he understands, warning him that if I disappear, so does his liquor license. I get the names and addresses I want, but the man says I'm wasting my time. There's nothing in Bayside worth saving. Bayside is a lost cause. Which is exactly why I've targeted the area. Night after night I'm there, waging my fight against crime in whatever form it takes. I strike quickly and vanish, a vengeful extension of the darkness. My unspoken message swiftly spreads through the streets. Someone's watching, and he's angry. That anger grows the night I trail some kids to a shuttered paper factory. Once it employed 1,000 people and was the economic linchpin of this neighborhood. Now the factory is a grotesque parody of its former self. Still thriving, still a vital force in the local economy, but as a drug lab. The local gangs have put the neighborhood back to work. And why wouldn't kids flock here? In this part of town, it's the only promise of money and protection. But it's all an illusion. There is no safety here. Least of all, from me. I use the powder for camouflage, connecting with the attackers when I hear them come close. Over the cries of the fleeing kids, I hear one of them fumbling a heavy object from a drawer. Then a click as small fingers clumsily pull back a gun hammer. I know who's standing there before I turn around. Marcus's voice shakes as he orders me away. If I go, it will only prove to him the power of the gun. I make the only pod choice possible. Marcus, this isn't you. At least, it doesn't have to be. I saw what happened to your parents. I know what you're feeling. A man with a gun once took away people I loved. I never stopped missing them. Never forgot how painful it was to be alone. You can't bring your parents back, but you can break the cycle of violence that took them. Don't be a part of it, Marcus. Don't become what killed our families. As street crime diminishes in Bayside, I change my battle tactics. I instruct my company to buy the old factory and return it to full production. The profits and money will be marginal, in human spirit, incalculable. It is not the moments of tragedy that define our lives so much as the choices we make to deal with them. Marcus chose to walk away from the gun and the life of crime. The life that awaits him will sometimes be hard and sad, but he has proven himself strong enough to face it. In time, the this neighborhood will flourish again. More opportunities will come here, providing hope for the people who have stuck it out so long. I can't imagine that would sit well with my good friend, Randall Winters. Now that I'm bringing industry back to Bayside, the future of his upscale residential development is not quite so bright. Once more, Winters emphasizes that his wealthy clientele will pay top dollar for the new homes he will build. I tell him I prefer to invest in the people already living there. Randall calls me naive for caring about people I don't even know. I admit that may be, but it's my money and my call. I tell Randall I don't want to take up any more of his time in light of more pressing concerns. It seems the police have just arrived with questions about cops taking kickbacks from private industry. I excuse myself, wishing Randall good luck with his future endeavors. I know I am fighting a war I can never completely win. But there are small victories that encourage me to keep trying. If I can win back one child, there may be hope for many others. If it starts with one person, and then a neighborhood, then perhaps redemption can spread through an entire city, and finally, back to me. I helped Marcus deal with his pain. It will take him some time, but I know it will eventually leave him. Maybe someday I'll feel I can leave mine behind as well. But for now, I still wait. And that concludes that story. So this next story that I'm going to read to you, I want to ask you a question if you're watching this video right now, whether it's from the Facebook Live or from YouTube. Tell me down in the comments below, what is the one superpower that I have above all else? I'll give you some time to think it over and type in your answer in the comments. I trust you put in your answer, right? So, if you answered that my one power is I never give up, I persevere in the face of adversity, then you hit it spot on, which ties into my next story by Jasmine Wright called I'm Gonna Push Through. Now, if you have a child or even a teenager, it doesn't matter what age they are or what age you may be yourself, this is a simple but yet powerful life lesson you can learn from this children's book. So without further ado, let's begin. Hold your head high. No matter what stands in the way of your dreams, remember this: you can push through anything. If someone tells you it's too hard, don't you ever listen. You tell them, I'm gonna push through. Think of those before you who never gave up. Barack Obama, he pushed through. Malala Yousafzai, she pushed through. Oprah Winfrey, she pushed through. George Takei, he pushed through. Jillian Mercado, she pushed through. Diane Guerrero, she pushed through. LaDonna Brave Bull Allard, she pushed through. Jamie Brewer, she pushed through. Marley Diaz, she pushed through. LeBron James, he pushed through. Stephen Hawking, he pushed through. Sharice Davids, she pushed through. Juan Felipe Herrera, he pushed through. Mirai Nagasu, she pushed through. Tyler Perry, he pushed through. Trevor Noah, he pushed through. And if they can do it, you can do it too. You say it now. If they can do it, I can do it too. What if it's too hard? I'm gonna push through. What if it's too tough? I'm gonna push through. What if you're afraid? I'm gonna push through. What if it's too rough? I'm gonna push through. What if you don't know how to do it? I'm gonna push through. What if you just can't do it? I'm gonna push through. What if you're just too young? That's not true. What if you're not good enough? That's not true. What if you're not strong enough? That's not true. Tell me why I can do anything I put my mind to. I believe in you. Chin up. Believe in yourself. Head high. Turn and tell someone, encourage them and say, I believe in you. Now ask them, do you believe in yourself? Point to yourself and say, I believe in me. I will believe in myself. Remember, you were born for a reason. Your life has meaning. You were birthed with a purpose, and it will be your goal to find it. Because one day in this world, you will make a difference. And use your footprint to leave an imprint. Tell me why. I can push through anything I put my mind to. Excellent. Now don't let anyone in the world tell you otherwise. And that concludes that story. So before you get going, I just want to leave you with a parting message to remember from this day forward. Though this day may be in celebration of a great character created by DC Comics, I want you to remember that you don't have to suit up as a superhero like me to be a hero in your own life. Just remember that if I can persevere in the face of adversity, you can too. Always remember that moving forward. So I wanted to thank you so much for stopping by and joining me today in celebration of Batman Day. If you are watching this from the Facebook Live, don't forget to follow me on Facebook via my fan page at the Batman of Positive Value, as well as follow me on Instagram at Darth Nightmare. If you are watching this from YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. With that said, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Have an amazing day. Happy Batman Day. And I will see you on the next video real soon. Take care. Batman out.